President Biden's first formal State of the Union address focused on Ukraine, inflation, the coronavirus pandemic and a 4-point unity agenda. He urged world unity in standing up to Russia, listing ways he's trying to address rising prices, even if it will likely have limited to no effect in the Biden made mention of some progressive policy items, such as the need for robust voting rights legislation and stood up for transgender and abortion rights, while leaving out some other topics such as climate change. And he also touted some of his accomplishments of his first year, such as the COVID relief bill and the bipartisan infrastructure bill. But the speech's emphasis on many of Biden's centrist policy positions, like not defunding the police, was a clear choice in an election year. It was reminiscent, in some ways, of Bill Clinton's 1995 State of the Union address made after Republicans' historic gains in the 1994 midterm elections. Here are 5 takeaways from Biden's address to Congress: 1. This was a much more unified-looking Congress, for the most part, than in past years. Watchers of State of the Union addresses are pretty used to seeing, literally seeing, partisan applause lines. One half of the audience, the president's party, usually stands and applauds for most things, while the other half, the opposition party, sits quietly or voices their displeasure. But for the most part, Tuesday night, the mood was more unified. And that's because of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Ukrainian blue and gold was a hard-to-miss symbol of unity in a deeply polarized Congress with lots of members donning blue and gold flags and lapel pins. The president's defiant tone on the crisis elicited several moments of bipartisan applause, something rare in this partisan age. That is, of course, aside from some usual suspects. 2. Biden painted an optimistic portrait of life after COVID. Another striking visual was the absence of masks in this speech in the age of COVID. It was a sign of the eagerness that Americans feel in wanting to move past the pandemic, and the president was cautiously optimistic. Biden called for people to get vaccinated, for children to get vaccinated and for production and distribution of antiviral pills to protect vulnerable people. He also forcefully called for the country to get back to work, to fill our downtowns and to keep schools open. At the same time, unlike last July when he was close to declaring independence from the pandemic, only to be derailed by deadly variants, Biden said, "I cannot promise the new variant won't come.